Hi, folks. So I'm just going to be joined in a minute by Janelle Wu from Cedar Mountain Coaching, and we're going to talk a little bit about our experience with coaching and what impact it's had on our perspective of relationships and social change. And we're doing this in preparation for some upcoming courses. Some of them are free in March and April, and then we're launching a more in-depth program, which we're pretty pumped about. Hey, Janelle! Yay! uh,
So sorry about that. So
no,
I'm
no worries at all. Yeah.
gonna chat with you and have this great conversation, just sort of as a prelude to our 1 hour workshops that we're going to be having this month. And those 1 hour workshops are all little snippets of our upcoming course that we're hoping to launch in May, or sometime this spring, about coaching skills for social change.
Yeah, and I like how so what day is today? Tuesday. Next Tuesday is like powerful questions, and just even talking a bit more about what we're going to discuss and unpack that day. Yeah, has me really excited to be kind of live with some new participants, new faces. Already have a great crew signed up for that workshop. So yeah. This question is so broad. The idea of like what impact has coaching had on you, your life, your relationships, social change. It's a pretty broad topic. So one thing I found interesting in as we were talking about this just before going live was how you described its impact on your parenting. I don't know if I'm going like too far, too quick into it, but I found that really fascinating. Curious if you can share that again.
Yeah, so coaching is really interesting because I kind of grew up in the paradigm where having the answers, fixing things, being the problem solver was really the best and most revered practice in my family, at least. And so having coaching and flipping it to more questions, curiosity, um,
Mm,
trying to empower the person to problem solve and build their own resources has been totally life changing as a parent. And I'm not saying I do it all the time. I'm certainly not
mhm,
about it, but just having my daughter come to me for an answer, and my impulse is to just tell her her solution or give her advice about what to do, and instead pausing and just asking a question of, well, what do you think you should do right now?
mm,
and and her kind of thinking it through and then being like, well, what's brought you to that conclusion, not only kind of empowers her ability to problem solve, but actually gives her a bit of a confidence boost, which is really,
mhm.
because then she's like, yeah, I figured it out myself, versus mommy telling me what to do, which is sort of normally what I do too. So
Hmm.
yeah, how has
Yeah,
coaching changed for you, like in your
yeah,
work?
yeah. Well, and even when you describe the parenting thing, I mean, I don't have kids, so I don't have an example like that, but I've heard that's not uncommon for folks who have gone through some sort of coach training or have gained some coaching skills, how they've applied it to not just like work areas or not just supporting people in change or transformation, but actually just in any relationship. And I would say that is absolutely true um, for me as well. Like there's lots of personal relationships, professional relationships, basically like family, basically all of my relationships. I've shifted. Sorry, I'm hitting the phone. They've my approach to all of those types of relationships has shifted, I would say, um, because of what you've described, the power dynamics. I think that's essentially there's lots of power dynamics that are at play in the parent-child relationship, but there's power dynamics in lots of our relationships. In the workplace through hierarchy. I mean, this is the first thing that comes to mind, as you know, Janelle, because I talk a lot about regenerative leadership and um, organizations structuring things in hierarchy. And things are shifting. Like our consciousness, our approach to leadership is shifting very much in social change organizations and nonprofits, in businesses and companies, like all over, things are shifting, and we're realizing that we need a different approach to leadership than just the traditional top down. That's what I love about the coaching approach, is that it's grounded. It's like these are tangible skills you can use to work in power with relationship rather than power over relationship. And if we have any hope of solving social problems on a larger scale, then I think it needs to be done with a different power, with attention to power in a different way, and less power over. I mean, I just think maybe none, but maybe I'm idealistic. I'm probably idealistic. So at least less power over.
Well, and like thinking about power over, for me, it takes the pressure off of me
Mm,
to have the answer, to be right, to know everything that there is to know, and I can actually just turn it over so somebody else can find their own path and not make all these assumptions about
mm.
what should be, what they should be doing. I don't like the shoulds.
Yeah. When you're using your coaching skills in your relationship with your kids, what are you noticing is the impact on you?
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing. In the moment, it's hard because I'm slowing down. I have to slow down, I have to focus, give my attention, and and come up with a question. But it feels good for me to give that attention,
Mm,
not be quick and answery. And I think at the end of the day, it builds our relationship. It creates a safe place for my kids to be able to ideate and come up with their own
mm,
solutions. And I think I feel better as a parent that I'm equipping them with more resources and ways of thinking through things. Uh,
mm.
when I do the coaching approach, that's when I do it.
Yeah. With in those times that you're using a coaching approach, what are some of the specific things that you do with
It's
your kids?
like when I do the coaching approach, it's mainly me asking them, you know, what do you see happening? Or what are you noticing? Or what do you think your toy is? Like something that simple as where do you think your toy is? And oh,
Mm,
well, have you thought about what you did today? And
mm,
kind of asking them the question so that they start getting the process of, oh, this is the process of trying to find my toy, is
yeah.
thinking about where I've been today, where I think I left it last, and going to check it. And
Mm,
so it's nice than me being like, it's in the living room on the couch,
mm,
like it's a
yeah.
bit that way.
Yeah. Sometimes that probably takes more time, right? It's less simple.
It is. And it's also helpful though, because I can't keep those things in my mind. I
Mm,
can't memorize where all their toys are. So it is a relief to just be like, well, I'm building your ability to do this so
mm.
that I can let it go eventually.
Letting go of that responsibility of being the one with the answers, the one who's in charge. Yeah. Well, it's funny when you talked about this, and I know we didn't necessarily intend to have it all be about parenting, but it just reminds me of when I was a kid and my mom actually got in trouble from her friends and her siblings because she always like made me responsible for my choices from like a really young age. Um, and one story she tells is that we were going away on a trip and she made me decide which of my toys I wanted to take. And I was like, I was having a really hard time deciding. I'm still a bit indecisive, but I guess I was, as part of my authentic me as a kid, pretty indecisive. And well, it was painful, but she would not cave and choose for me. She like helped um, develop me making those choices. So yeah, it just made me think of that and how empowering, even though it's still painful for me to make choices, how empowering that was to be like from a very early age to be responsible for some of my own choices and to not be given answers, like really, really empowering. Um, and actually like not common in a lot of our relationships.
No, I agree. It's so quick, and even for me to jump in with advice. You should do this, and I've done this, and
Mm-hmm,
questions and curiosity did not come naturally to me, for sure. If anything, I saw it as a sign of weakness that I didn't know. And now I see how, even you as a child being able to make those choices and great practice for when you're older.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really developing, developing me. Um, yeah, yeah. And when you talk about um, not giving, not advice giving, what it made me think of is that I mean, sometimes advice can be helpful. So like it has a role outside of a coaching approach. I mean, advice can be what you need in the moment. Like if you're ready to take action and maybe you need input on and ideas about how to move forward. So it has a role, but a lot of times when we end up advice giving, either the responses I hear is like, no, that won't work because of this. No, that won't work because of this. It's like either the thing should get shut down or somebody's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, I'll do it, but they don't do it. It doesn't really land. It's not actually something they're going to take action on because it's not something that they own, like really, really own as their own decision as a way to move forward. So,
Yeah, I'm also that person that I need to be the rebel. Like, if you're going to tell me what to do, I'm just not going to do it that way. So it is better for me to, think about what's my own way. And it uses my creativity, which I love doing. And in
mm,
all parts of my life, it's living true to my values too. And so it just makes so much sense for me to come up with my own solutions.
hmm yeah, yeah, lovely. Well, maybe we should conclude, but continue this conversation this time next week, yeah, on powerful questions. We get to dive in a little bit more into what some of our best practices are around what are good questions, how to approach it. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that next week on um, if anyone is watching and is interested, then there's links in our bios to register. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then 2 weeks after that, I think we're also doing another 1 hour workshop on listening, which is sort of the opposite end of.
Mhm.
And just as a quick reminder, this is all kind of leading up to our course that we're hoping to launch in spring, on coaching skills for social change. And we're so excited about it and happy to chat if you guys have any questions, and hope to see you next week.
Mhm. Awesome. Thanks, Janelle.
See you.
Bye.